everyone, I am so excited that Guardians of the Galaxy is coming out on DVD soon. I really enjoyed the movie, so on my tree this year, I wanted something from the movie, the baby Dancing Groot. And if you want to see how I made my baby Groot ornament, please stick around.
I decided first to make the pot I was going to put the baby Groot in. You don't have to do this, you can go out and buy a really tiny one, but I just did it by making a base of aluminum foil and then wrapping it in clay. I then made a base body for the inside and then made a lot of brown snakes to wrap all the way around it. I wanted them to make a spiral pattern around the outside of the body, like a lot of vines that wrap around to make one whole tree. You need a lot of snakes to do this. I made a lot, wrapped it around, needed more, then made more just to keep wrapping. You wrap until all of the white is completely covered. Keep putting each snake side by side and rolling. This actually takes the longest, but it looks really cool when you're done. At this point, I put a piece of wire all the way through the ornament. That way I could make a hook from the top and it would be a bit more sturdy. I cut off a piece of wire for the arms and then I started making the head. I just rolled a piece of brown clay into an oval and started pushing to indent for the face. I cut a bit of the clay off the top because I realized the body was too long, put the head on top, and then made a loop at the very top wire, and that way the head was attached to the body. I tried to fit the arms on, realized they were a bit too long, and cut off some extra pieces. Then I made more snakes, because these are for the arms. I just kept making the snakes and then wrapping all the way around the wire. You can also do this by making two pieces of wire, wrapping them, and then putting them in your statue. You see more wire? You keep covering them in snakes. Then I wanted a thicker set of vines to go around the outside of the body, so I made a long, thick snake to wrap around. I just kept wrapping and then smoothing it in, using the extra to keep coating the arms. I used a rounded tool to smooth the edges in to make sure it would stick a bit better. Then I grabbed green clay to make the vines. I made long, very thin snakes. I didn't want the vines to be anywhere as thick as the tree trunk. I started sparsely putting them around his body. He didn't have a bunch of green, but I still wanted it to stand out. If you need more, make more, and then I also wrapped his arms in some green too. When I'm finished wrapping, I take the scraps from my snakes, or I make more snakes if needed, to start making the branches that are on the top of Groot's head that kind of make him look like he has hair. I made them into a flat panel, and then I started wrapping them on the face. I made more because I just didn't seem to have enough to wrap all the way around his head, and I added those too. Now the way I have the wire in, I can pull off his head completely with the wire intact. This made it easier to smooth the pieces together and work with the hair. When I'm done with the vines and the hair, I reattach the head to the body and then smooth all the edges where the neck was to try to make it look seamless. Then I made some of the other really thin snakes into his fingers. I attached them to the arms by just smoothing them in, and then I started working on his face. I made an indent for the mouth to start and made a bridge for the nose, and then I could see where the eyes should go. I just used a rounded tool to make an indent in where a tiny little black ball would fit that would start for his eyes. And then I kept finishing his mouth just by making the indent a bit more extreme. I made two tiny little black balls and fit them in. When his face is done, you're ready to bake. After the clay is cool, then you can start painting. I used silver acrylic paint, and then I started working on Groot's face. I used white acrylic paint on a needle to make the light spots in his eyes, black acrylic paint to darken the inside of his mouth. I then filled the base with hot glue. You should make sure ahead of time that your Groot base does fit in your pot. Fit your Groot then squarely into the pot before the glue is dry. Wait a few seconds. After it's cooled down, you can wipe off any extra glue. This is how it turned out. I really like it.
I hope you all enjoyed that video. If you have any ideas on what I could make next or questions on what I did, please comment in the box below. Another video is going up soon, and if you don't want to miss it, you can subscribe. You can do that by clicking on Groot here. Thanks for watching.